Perfecto. All right, everybody. Let's see who we need to let in here. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? We're here. We made it. It's been a while, especially after the holiday. So since we haven't seen each other for a while, anybody have any interesting stories? Anything interesting happen that is worth mentioning? Okay. Well, that's good. Let me see here. What about me? Well, I was talking to Linda the other day. We got some new cubicles for our Lowell campus. That was a lot of fun. So I got a new office now. I get to be boxed in, and that's super exciting. The cubicles came from a bank. It was a Bank of America that they closed the branch down over in Cottage Grove. And so I was given the keys to the bank. We went and picked those cubicles up. And the next day, I woke my 5-year-old son up, got onto YouTube and put on a fake police scanner and told him that the bank was going to be robbed and we had to go and do something. And he's just waking up, and I was like, we got to get there. I don't think the police are going to get there on time. Sorry for defaming the police, but anyway, we jump in the car. We're driving over to this bank. He was hungry, so we stopped for a corn dog, and we started talking about what we would do when we got to this bank, caught these robbers. Well, we didn't have a great plan, so we were looking around the car for anything to use as weapons. He had a ice scraper for the car. I had a spork, and we were ready to go. So we finally whip into the bank parking lot, checking all of our keys. Well, I had the key that worked. We used that one last, and we're about to get into the bank. I said, all right, are you ready to do this? Are you sure? And he's ready to go. We open the door, and the bank is completely empty. I mean, every vault, nothing, not even a quarter left. And I turned to my son and said, man, we shouldn't have stopped for that corn dog. Anyway, good life lesson. You gotta stay focused here. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, when do you get an opportunity like that? Empty bank, 5-year-old that will believe anything. I love it. All right, well, we're gonna get started unless anybody else has something to share. Nope, not Linda. All right, that's good. We are at the time of year where we are starting to plan for the future. I'm so excited. It is the mid-year, January, and we're starting to look forward to what the possibilities could be for next year. And one thing that I love about this group of people right here is the fact that you guys have been consistently coming, many of you, and there is the opportunity to kind of bounce some ideas off, our committed families here before we even think about planning and rolling them out for the future. And so before I just throw some things out for us to discuss, I think I probably should take a minute and just ask if there are any questions or things that are on your mind, because as soon as I get onto my own track, I could just eat up the whole 30 minutes that we have before we get into our breakouts. So does anybody have any questions or concerns about anything?
I was just going to mention, Ben, there is a couple assignments on my daughter's Canvas for high school that are due on the Friday of spring break.
Ooh,
So I
yeah,
don't know if there are for any other students or not. So I just thought maybe a word to some of the teachers to check on those things.
wow, yeah, that's probably not the best timing to have
There's
those
just a
things
couple.
due.
There's just
Yeah,
two, but yeah.
I appreciate it. Do you know off the top of your head what classes they're for?
Yes, I can tell you that. Give me a second. Spring break. And flip through my multiple pages in my planner here. It is PE
Okay,
and language arts.
okay. So just some minor
Yeah.
extracurriculars there.
Yeah, it's just simple, they just overlooked something, but
Okay, I will be reminded by somebody, I'm sure, to follow up on that. If you're that somebody, please make a note. I would appreciate it. No, thank you, Dixie.
And I do have one more comment that
Yep.
something to ruminate about. In the on-campus classes, some of the teachers are now requiring the children to take pictures of their assignment so that if it gets lost, they have record of it, which sounds like a great idea, but not every kid has a phone. So I just thought maybe that might need to be brought up in a meeting, that maybe there's an alternative. But that has been suggested, that and on campus on Canvas, even in some updates, to be sure and take pictures of your assignments while you're in class on campus. And my daughter has a phone, so it hasn't been an issue, but it has been brought up by a couple students. And actually
Yeah.
one teacher said, well, maybe you should get one.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
I just thought maybe that was something the staff should maybe chat about and see if there's an alternative. So
Well, there
anyway.
is an alternative. I could think of one right off the top of my head. Is every classroom there has a bank of computers, and I know with Canvas you can load it up, and even with the Chromebook computer, take a picture of
Right.
it right there and upload it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I knew there was electronics in the classrooms. So
Mhm.
anyway, just thought I would mention
So,
that in case some kid
yeah,
is freaking out.
I do appreciate you bringing that up because that little anecdote, and not that I'm saying you're not telling it correctly, but if accurate, I would just say it doesn't sound great for.
Yeah. So anyway,
All right.
not trying to stir any water. I just figured there might be some kids that were like, wait, I can't do that. So anyway.
Oh, no. Stirring some water is what this meeting's all about. So, yeah. Does anybody else have any comments or concerns before we move forward? All right, so what we like to do is, especially this time of year, as we move forward, we like to just take one aspect of our program and just discuss and talk about ways that we can improve. And so today, the topic that I would love to dive into is our growth team support. I would love to hear what is going well with that and ways that we can improve as we look at restructuring our growth team for next year. Currently, we have students that are, behind being assigned a growth team teacher. They meet either one-on-one or small group and work on specific skills to move forward. And I would love to know from your perspective, especially if you have somebody that you know is participating in the growth team, if your child has ever participated in the past, or is currently participating, ways that can be more effective as we're as we're looking. Now, anything is on the table right now, especially with this discussion, because we're just dreaming. And sometimes the dreams are the thing that yields some very good ideas for the future. So please feel free to bring anything up at all if you have any general things, and if not, I will ask more specific questions. So anybody have a thought come up at all in general about growth team, things that are going well or things that could be improved on? Here we go. We got Fallon and we got Lauren. I'm gonna go Lauren and Fallon, and then we'll start the discussion off. Go ahead, Lauren.
Well, mine is still, we're waiting to get started. We're a new family and we started in September. But I get it that, that first set of testing, well, let's see what happens when we test a second time. But he was still 3, in a couple places 4 testing, like he's 8th grade and he tested 4th grade level in a few places. And we still haven't got anything started yet. And that's a little hard just because I'm so worried with him going into high school next year.
Oh, yeah. So has anybody reached out to you about anything at all, or has it just been?
Yeah. So his teacher, after we got the December stuff, was like, okay, let's get the growth team. Do you want that? I'm like, yes, definitely. And I get the break, and it's still January, and so I'm not I'm so upset and mad about this. How dare you? Not at all. I get it that things move slowly. And then when we did the breakout groups, was that last week, the week before, I actually ended up talking with some of the growth team people, and they're like, okay, here's my email, send me an email, we'll get some stuff going. I sent the email, still haven't heard anything yet. So I'm sure it's in the process of getting started. But again, maybe there could be some improvement on that. And maybe most importantly, if a kid, even in September, if they test that low, maybe we need to get started right then and not wait. Let's just wait until December, because then December comes and you have all the December break. Mm-hmm. And now here we are halfway through the year and we haven't even started on growth team yet.
Yeah. And so let's talk about what you envision that would be like when you are on growth team. Best case scenario, we get you signed up today, which we are going to look at all of this. I hear that we need you in this next session. We need to get your child moving. But what would the best case scenario be for the services that you get with growth team?
Well, when I was discussing it with him, it sounded like it was once or twice a week Zoom meetings with the teachers and going over his areas that he has expressive receptive communication disorder. He's on the spectrum. We've known about this forever. He had IEP when he was in public school, 504, all that fun stuff. So it's nothing surprising to me at all. So just starting to get him looked at so he can be on par with his peers, because I just worry so much about him. And of course, he's my oldest, so I don't really know what's normal. I don't really know what to expect as far as what's coming with high school. But I just worry so much about him feeling behind, feeling like he's stupid, because he just doesn't get these concepts, especially with the writing and communication. And his math is below grade level too, but he seems to enjoy that. So I'm not as worried about that.
Okay. And the thought of 1 or 2 Zoom meetings, working on some of these skills and concepts, that is what you would be hoping for out of growth team. Anything else?
I don't really know, having never walked this path before, I don't even know, is there anything else, or this is just what it is? I have no idea. I'm very open.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing it up. Again, we're just trying to dream for the future. We will look into the current situation for sure, but that is really helpful. So to recap, a shorter time frame from being told about growth team to being able to access those services is what you would be hoping for.
Yeah, especially if it's a kid like mine that is testing so far behind. I get it. If they're only like a little bit behind, like let's see what happens, at the next evaluation. But I think with how far behind he tested in September, we should have started this earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing. Fallon.
Yeah. So I work for BCA and have a kiddo in the growth team. And you guys were very upfront with me when it came to how long it would take to get him set up. So I was aware of it and was fine as long as
And
he
what was that time frame that was communicated, just for my
I
own?
want to say that we started, I was very concerned, and honestly, I wish that last year that was addressed, that he needed help last year. Because he's been behind from the start. COVID really declined it even more so. So I think, we really started talking about it in September, and I think we started in December, if I'm correct, if I can remember correctly. And my thing is that I just wish that, like, how we have one-on-ones with the teachers, do I need to request a one-on-one? Because I'm like really concerned. I just want to make sure he's getting caught up, and if I need to find him more additional support, that I get that to him. But that's probably just me needing to send an email to the growth team and asking.
Yeah, that's really helpful. So I got a question, or unless anybody else has specific feedback for the growth team. But we do have one-on-ones every other week for K-8. High school is currently meeting every week. There has been some thought about increasing that time to every week for K-8. And I was just curious, again, we're all friends, we're just future plans, future ideas, what that would do for you as a family. Would that be helpful? Is it just dependent on what type of things are covered during those meetings? For me and my family, I know that every other week means that I have a 50-50 chance of remembering what the right week is that I need to be at a meeting. And I was just curious what you guys think.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, Stellan meets with them weekly. And I could probably get in beforehand, but I don't want to take up that time that he's working with the growth team to say, how's it going? Like,
yeah, right. Absolutely.
I didn't want to take up any of that time.
Yeah, but that's really helpful. Thanks, Fallon. Anybody else have any other thoughts? I know Lauren said that she thinks it should be optional, that she has one student that doesn't need it and wouldn't want it. That's good to know. Miriam.
Yeah, so I guess along the lines of what Lauren's saying, I feel like that would not be useful for our family, because even the every other week, we're like, it's just a thing that we have to do to get to check off. Basically, we're not gaining or benefiting from it. It's, we're on top of the curriculum. My daughter doesn't even like being in the meeting. Like, it's kind of like, blah. I feel bad for the learning coordinator and for me, because we have to be there with somebody who's like, meh. So my feedback would be, if kids need it, it would be amazing if it was an option, or maybe for kids who have a little bit more need, that would be a great option. But I don't think that's a good cookie cutter plan, because I think it would just waste a lot of the LC's time, and at least I know ours is so incredibly busy.
Can I ask, maybe going a little deeper, forget about expanding the one-on-ones, but what would actually make the current one-on-one time more beneficial for your family?
I feel like if we had something to talk about that was not just, I mean, and Emma doesn't want to talk right now. So it's probably on us, not our learning coordinator, but
Sure.
there's just nothing is happening there other than, okay, well, I see you. This is where you're supposed to be in the pacing guides. Are you there? Yeah. How are things going? Good. Okay. Like just any reminders that we need. It's really just nothing's happening other than boxes are being checked.
Hmm.
And I mean, obviously my high schooler, it's a whole different thing. That's very robust.
Oh, yeah, but let's talk about that because that is interesting because in a lot of senses for high school, meeting every other week, it does seem like it would also be boxes being checked. But is it because there is more relational connection or what makes it different between
I
one and the other?
Yeah, I do think that there's a lot more connection. We are incredibly blessed to have Alicia Black. She is just absolutely fantastic. And for high school, and she is super good about my son also has learning disability that we have not ever brought up at BCA. We've just worked within, he's been able to just function. So we've been doing that. But she is so good about coming alongside him and saying, okay, let's go on to the college. He's doing dual credit. So let's go on to the college site and look at that together. Let's, go on to your Canvas and look at that together. She's so patient and gentle, but works with him and comes alongside him and coaches him to do the things that he needs to do. And he's so much more responsive and teachable with her. And he was with Mr. Shumsky as well, who also did amazing than he is with us. So we feel so grateful for the high school program. It's just been such a positive thing. So different kid, but he still tends to be quiet. But yeah, she does. She draws him out and she walks through, okay, what needs to be done? When does this need to be done? Make sure you're doing this. Okay, why don't you do that? Why don't you send that email while we're in this meeting? And I'm just so grateful for that. She does a really great job of keeping him accountable all the while she's being positive and encouraging and, empowering him the
Wow.
whole time. So I feel like it's just because he has so much more that needs to be addressed. And he's just in a different, I don't know. I don't know. Teenagers are hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, we're just at a challenging point in our family, our life. And so the meeting with my 8th grader, it's just getting through it. And then even the conferences are kind of like, unless I have a question. But the
Right.
meetings with, Elijah, he's really getting what he needs to make sure that he's on track, I guess.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And are you hoping to keep Alicia for your daughter as well as she enters into high school?
I would be delighted to keep her. She's incredible.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, thank you. That is helpful. Dixie, what do you think?
Well, I think that it is important that BCA wants to have that connection between parents and the LCs or the ECs or whatever. And I think that if we incorporated the parent in those meetings every week, I think is awesome because it makes you touch base with that teacher. It makes that teacher know what you're doing. The teacher shouldn't just be, are you on track? Are you doing okay? It should be, what did you do this week? What kind of thing did you do in science? Did you do a project? What are you studying in history? Oh, I studied that. I like this. It needs to be engaging, like Miriam was just talking about Alicia. Alicia's awesome. I also have her, and I hope we have her till my daughter graduates. But making that connection with the student and with the parent, making it personal, and then maybe throwing out what they're going to be doing in cohort next week. And so the parent knows, hey, they're going to be doing this. That sounds cool. It's not just checking off the box. It's a building of a relationship. And I think that's really, really important. And maybe a half hour is too long for K through 8, maybe 15 minutes every week would be sufficient. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I will say this, that if you are really investing in the relationship piece of it, that 15 minutes can go by way too fast if you're trying to do multiple things.
That is true.
But if it is just a get through it type thing, 15 minutes might even still seem too long. Okay, but this is all very, very good feedback. I really appreciate that. Any other thoughts about any of these things? Growth team, weekly meetings, Destiny.
Yeah, just kind of to go along with what Dixie was saying. I know I have some students that I do ask them, hey, what are you doing in science? And a lot of the times when they're in the younger grades, they're like, well, I don't know, or, very short answers. And so trying to get them to respond more in detail would, lengthen the time, obviously. So those kinds of things are things to think about too, depending on the student and how they engage and actually want to talk about it makes a difference in the time.
Yeah, it is really true. And there is an art to it, right? Getting information from students can sometimes be easier if, as a teacher, you're willing to give a little bit as well. Like, hey, this is the thing that I'm learning this week, and being really excited about that. And then also turning around and asking the student about the things that they're learning about, and then being very excited about the little bits of information that you're getting. And I think that excitement that the teacher brings can invoke more excitement for a student that is under the 5th grade, because once they get into middle school, they don't like you no matter what. At least that's been my experience. Okay, anyway, we do have some other announcements that we need to make. And so, TJ, would you like to speak a little bit about our outdoor school?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we put up a survey and we've received, I don't know, close to 50 responses now in about a week and a half. So lots of responses, more than I had imagined we would get. So really excited about that. And of the 50 or so responses, all but 3 are yeses. So everything was yes but 3, and all 3 no's were not hard no's. They were just like, no, unless I was able to go and attend as well, or no. But once I get more information, that might become a yes. And so I think at this point, we have to meet as a leadership group, as a cabinet, and discuss it, and then we'll make a decision. But it seems like there's a pretty overwhelming response from the 5-6 grade band that families are interested and would like to participate in this. We reached out about the grant that we received for this that Ben had spoke of 2 weeks ago, and it does cover parent chaperones as well, up to, I think, like a 1/6. We're required to have a 1-to-6 ratio parents to students there to serve as chaperones. And so the grant does cover the parents as well for that 1-to-6 ratio. And so that's really good news. And then we would be able to go. We would have a few staff that would be on site as well, but pretty much everything's provided. The dates are, I had them here. It is the week of the 10th of April. It's the 9th is Easter, so it's the week following Easter. It's week 30. I thought it was conference week. It's not conference week. It is a cohort week. And so they would miss cohort for that week. They would be out, I believe it's 4 days. But Ryan Smith is kind of championing this. He's attended it before. One of our LCs would be running point on it. He's attended this specific camp before. He's ran outdoor schools here. And so we would be, the cost would cover, the grant would cover the student, which would cover their room and board. It would cover their time there. I believe it's for 4 days. And then there would be like a curriculum that would be specific to our students. We would be the only camp on site. There's no other students there. It's just our school that would be there at the camp. And then they would be in a cabin setting. And they would be overnight for 4 days. So I know a lot of families are really excited about the idea. We're definitely, Ben, would you say at this point we're leaning towards moving forward with this? I would say it seems like that's the direction based on the feedback we've gotten. So what we'll do is we said we would give until I think I have until Wednesday on the survey to get all the feedback, and then I'll meet with Ben and leadership, and we will make, yes, we do, Dixie, but I forgot to get it from Ryan. We do have the site. He's already confirmed that it's available. He's got all the information available, but I forgot to bring it with me. It's at the school. I wrote it down on my desk there. I will get that information for you and be able to send it out. Our hope is to just, in the family email, once we make the decision, yes, we'll just be able to lay it all out in the family email and have all the information for all the families, what it would look like, and we'd be able to go from there. So any questions that you have about outdoor school? Nope. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all we have. I just wanted to throw that out there and see if there was anyone that had any specific questions. We'll get more information to you, roll it out over the course of the next couple. Ryan just needed to know by the end of January. That was his deadline to be able to notify the camp and move forward. And so we will have a decision this week, and then we'll just roll out more information in the parent email. Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Any other announcements before we break out into our individual breakout rooms?
I have one, and it's just to remind families that the semester 1 deadline for submitting your reimbursements is on February 15th. And I'm also hosting a breakout room. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to join, and I will help troubleshoot and answer any questions you have.
That sounds really good. I also want to say that at the Lowell school board meeting, Lowell is our sponsored district. There was a line item there on the board packet, just saying that the superintendent, Johnny Matthews, is asking the board to accept his resignation as superintendent. What that actually means, and what the board is going to do about it, what that means for our charter, if anything, is yet to be seen. But if anybody's interested, you can get onto Facebook, and that starts at 6 o'clock. But that line item, I think, is at the end of what looks like a very long and boring meeting. But if not, we'll give you more details next week. So just thought I'd throw that out there because it probably won't have any major impact to our operations in the short term, but it could have an effect depending on what happens for the future. Okay, so the breakouts, and we will put the links in the chat. K8, TJ, what do you got going for today?
Yep, we are going to be looking at work samples. We're going to be discussing work samples. We're going to be talking about addressing the myths around work samples that have arisen, what's expected of families, what the remainder of the year will look like, and then just getting input and feedback for the future and what they could look like moving forward, what their feedback would be moving forward. But yeah, that's our focus, is just work samples for today.
Okay, and Rachel already mentioned in the office, and you can click that link. They'll be talking about reimbursements of all kinds, and any questions that you have, especially with that looming deadline in February. If you need additional training on how to get those receipts turned in, this is a perfect opportunity to join her and get your specific questions answered. And then we got writing. Marina, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, we're going to continue the conversation about partnering with parents and seeing what parents would like from the writing program in the 3 through 8 grades, and
Awesome.
looking at feedback, the writing samples on the portal.
Great. And if nobody attended our previous writing breakouts, it's fine to join the
For sure.
conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And if you don't know where to go, you have 2 options. You can, well, 3. You can pick one random room to go to. You can stay right here and have a nice conversation with me. I'll stick around if you have things you'd like to talk about, or you can leave and nobody will know that you're gone. No, yes, we will. We value you so much.
Hey, Ben, real quick, Dixie, Subtle Lake United Methodist Camp.
Oh, there it is.
That is the name of the camp.
And TJ, can you put your Zoom information in there for families?
Yeah.
Oh, I did, but
Oh, did you?
I private messaged it to somebody because I forgot to click everyone. So
All right.
I
So
will-
whoever got that private message, don't read too much into it. It was just a mistake.
There you go.
All right. We're moving on. Everybody pick a room and we will see you later. Thank you very much. Mhm. Hey, how's it going? Anybody here want to talk about anything? I got 30 whole minutes to have a discussion about any topic at all. So Dixie, what is the future going to hold here?
So Johnny is resigning from the whole school, not just our part, but the whole school board.
That is exactly what the board packet for Lowell seems to indicate. Yes, I will have more information on that after the meeting tonight.
Is he
So,
retiring or moving on to do something else, or do you know? No idea.
yeah.
He was kind of our champion, right? For
He definitely was the person that helped with Walt Handline start this whole school from the beginning, or at least the idea of it. Once they found John, John obviously took the idea and put some shape into it and actually made it what it is. But yeah, he was for the charters. And definitely was very happy to have us be part
Yeah.
of Lowell School District. So yeah, we'll see what the fallout is. But during the BCA board meeting, I'm sure next week they will have more information on where we're at
Right.
with that. So yeah, probably not much more I can say at
yeah,
this point until everything goes down the way it's going to go down.
nothing ever stays the same, does it?
No.
That's
Yeah.
good and bad.
Yeah, it's always changes is always exciting. And it's got that fork in the road feel, right? Is the future beyond where we're at going to be brighter and better? And we look back and say, wow, this was the best thing. Or is it going to go the other way where
Yeah.
where we're at right now was the good old days and we didn't realize it?
Have we heard any more at all from the ODE about is everything just status quo right now?
Yeah, the last thing that they did was issue all of the current guidance that we have that are already on the books. They said that they are not at this point going to pursue any additional guidance. Some of the current guidance are things that we probably still need to address. And I can say, and I'm very happy about this, is that Jasmine Brazil has come up with a multi-year plan to get us in line with where we need to be, while still preserving, I should say, the spirit of the BCA. And if you know anything about Jasmine, I mean, she is the biggest supporter of our mission and our vision. And so if anybody can walk that road, it's going to be her. And I'm very excited about the direction that we're headed. Some of that just has to do with the internal behind the scenes things, like we're talking about the BCA learning objectives, and how we would take those and take all the curriculum options and make sure that like at the high school level, but also for K-8, how they are lined up, and then be able to communicate to families where there are maybe some gaps, so that the families can decide what to do with those gaps, you know, like, hey, there's nothing here about personal finance. You may want to look at doing something about that, you know, things of that nature, but still keeping the freedom for families to choose their curriculum and be able to teach at home in the way that is best for their students.
So I have a question about the writing program
Yeah.
in K-8. I understand that was implemented because we are lacking in that department.
Yes.
Okay. Are we not requiring, I mean, I know we are, a curriculum for every student, K-8, or maybe 3rd through 8th, I'm not sure where that kicks in at.
Right.
That includes writing. Are they just not doing it, or are we not seeing evidence that they're doing it? Is that?
Well, there's a couple of different things. Number one, yes, everybody is required to have a writing curriculum. And that is important. What we have found, though, is that depending on the parents' comfort with writing, that is the indicator on how much that is being pushed or supported at home. Not that they're not doing it, but the other piece is that the parents' attitude about writing also gets reflected with students as well. If parents have a very negative view of writing and express that, students tend to have that same attitude, like with anything, right? And what we are hoping to do with our writing program, and I think Marina embodies this absolutely, is to create engaging activities that make writing and expressing yourself through writing a byproduct of the fun that you're having, instead of the goal, like, oh, we're going to now learn grammar and sentence structure. No, we're actually doing this fun thing, and now let's express, you know, what we've learned or whatever it is through the written word. And we've seen a lot of success with that. I just need that to be really in that type of thinking to be captured at all of our grade levels, and to see that it's about invoking the love of writing, and not just the do it well. We want them to be able to do it well, but if they don't love it, then it's like pulling teeth, you know?
Well, and then, you know, everyone is different, and
Yep.
some kids' writing is just not their cup of tea.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious how the success was going with what she has invoked in the classroom, if she's getting good success, or she's getting resistance, or if you're getting resistance from parents because, hey, we're already doing this type of
I
thing.
think that she is seeing wonderful success. again, it's going to be about franchising or you know, taking what she's doing and trying to emulate that in the other classrooms. And that's where there's still some growth to be done there.
Yeah.
Not that
It's
the other
hard.
teachers are good, but it's just
Yeah. Well, and not every teacher is a good writer, and not every teacher loves to write. So you're not going to get that same level of enthusiasm across the board with teachers and parents and students. So
yeah.
it's, you know, it's
Right.
Russian roulette with the writing sometimes. I mean, it's that way with every topic, but writing is especially hard, and it's for some kids, and that's something that they have to do the rest of their life, especially if they go on to college.
Mhm.
So
But there are the situations where you have a student that is a terrible writer, meaning even just the penmanship,
right.
spelling, grammar, everything is just horrible. But they get inspired to write a story, and they'll just go for it. And you can't even read the thing. It's
Yeah.
pretty bad. But yet that love for doing it and wanting to express themselves is there. And so that's why I think there is something to it. It may not work for everybody, but if you can invoke that love, it will inspire them to do the thing. But you can be a great writer and still hate doing it and never
Right.
want to do it. So, you know, it's obviously at home they've got the curriculum, and that's the have to. At the very least, for the hour that we have them once a week, we can try to really work on the inspiration for wanting to write.
Well, and there's a lot of tools out there now, like the talk to text and different things like that can help these kids get it on paper, even if that's a struggle. So I don't know if parents all are aware of those things. I've really done a lot of research because of my daughter's dyslexia, and it has
Yeah.
really amazing what's out there now.
Well, have
So-
you seen that what is it called, that new chat bot or whatever that they
Oh, I
have?
heard you talking about it.
Yeah, it's so insane. Here, let me see if I can pull it up, because it's just kind of fun to play with. I was
I'm kind of scared to show my kid.
Oh, I know. I mean, okay, let's see here. If I can. Oh, they've sort of it's not, I don't know that it's able to do it. What's going on here?
See, I wrote something down about it.
Huh. Well, I thought I had it here, but it says that, oh, I see, I'm in the wrong thing.
It's openai.com or something like
Yeah.
that.
Open, shoot, what do I got here? I think it's, what is it? What was it even called?
Chat GPT.
That's what I thought it was.
What I wrote down was openai.com/blog/chat GPT. I haven't actually gone on it, but I
Hmm.
wrote that down. So I haven't tried it out yet.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Well, it's so annoying that I can't just have it up and running here.
You know, something else I found that was absolutely exciting. Holly's doing Essentials in Writing for 9th grade. And
Oh, yeah.
right now they're reading The Hobbit.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Is that going well?
If she had to read it, it would not be going well. But Jasmine, I think, is the one that set up the Canvas course for that. And she has a link to an online audiobook site.
Oh.
And it's fantastic. It's a dramatization. So you have background, cool stuff going on. It's
What's
interesting.
the name of that link?
Let me tell you. and it has a ton of stuff available. I mean, let me find
Wow.
it here. I put it on my my desktop on my, it's esl-bits.net. And it has all kinds of novels,
Wow.
short stories. I mean, he has War and Peace on here.
Wow.
And now I haven't listened to any of them but The Hobbit. And The Hobbit one is done especially well. It has there's more than one person doing the voices. And then there's a lot of background. I mean, you're there, and it's
Love
awesome.
it. My daughter
So-
would absolutely flip over that, so I'm gonna check it out. That's
Yeah,
what-
it's a really great site.
Okay, so here's, I finally got it, I think, up. So if I say, write a 5-paragraph summary of the Hobbit. And what does it do? Is it even doing anything? Oh, there you go.
It's typing.
I've got too many things in the way. Yeah, and so there you go. You just,
Wow.
you don't even have to. And the fun thing is, like, you can just, okay, write a memo to a co-worker who is eating stinky fish in office. Boom. And it just, it's just anything you want. It just go for it. Oh,
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
mean, it's just insane what it can come up with. I mean, you just don't even have to think anymore. Let the computer.
That's really scary, actually. Cool, but scary.
Yeah. So if you ever get an email from me and it is a little too articulate, it's probably because I didn't write it.
Oh,
What do you think, Jenna?
I was going to mention that Google just came out saying they're going to have theirs up and ready soon, and then Bing also from Microsoft. And so once those powerhouses hit, yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm really
You know what the
excited.
Google one is called?
No, I don't. I can look at my phone and see if it's still on my feed.
Yeah. Although there was a time when I needed to write a letter and it had crashed because it was right during finals week, and everybody was on there, and I was like, oh, come on. The one time I could actually use this thing. Anyway, it's funny. So, but yeah, this audio book site looks amazing.
yeah, I was really excited, and she just had incorporated it right into the notes of the course, that it was there, and we have definitely been using it, and it's awesome because I downloaded the just a quick link to it on my phone, and so I can plug it into the car. I can plug it into my Bluetooth speaker at home, and it's awesome. So even my grandson comes over, he's all, "Are you listening to The Hobbit? I want to hear it." So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for that resource. I just can't believe how many different things they have here.
Another thing I was going to ask you about, and I know
yes.
it's very, very specific, but Miss, is it Herrera?
Yes.
Okay. She's been making a couple comments on essays saying that Holly needs to follow MLA format for her essays.
Okay.
Well, I learned MLA, but MLA to me was always about citing sources. That's all it was in my head. Evidently, there's a MLA standard format of how to set up an essay. So we Googled it and we downloaded an example, and it's basically just setting up the heading and
Sure.
different things a specific way. So it's nothing like major, but I think it would, and I'm probably going to mention it to her too, but it probably needs to be part of her opening when she, welcomes students. And here is an example, and this is how we really would like to see your essay set up. And here's a link if you need to look at, that kind of thing, other than just a comment. This really should be MLA.
Yeah, the one thing I will bring up, and I agree with you that it should, those resources should be there, especially in the Canvas and all that. I do know that they did go over some of that in their breakout, their bridge classes. So that may be where she's thinking that, but at the same time, I do think that there is value in having those things in an easily accessible place, maybe even on Canvas or somewhere. So,
Yeah, well, that's Nicole Murphy did that she requires Cornell notes. And so she lists that in her requirements for the class. She gives a copy of a form you can use. She also gives you a link where you can read about it if you want to know more about it. So I'll probably mention that to Ms.
I
Herrera.
would, yeah.
But it's helpful well, Holly was freaked. She's like, what is MLA? I haven't learned that. That's not in my curriculum.
That
And,
is funny.
so I'm like, well, we will Google it. And it really isn't that big a deal. It's just trying to make a standard, setup of headings, titles, dates, whatever. So.
Yeah. But that is probably the bridge class connection is probably what she was thinking.
Yeah, and not every class.
Worth mentioning it because it's so easy to say, hey, this thing, but at least for me, making that connection with what I've even heard, like sometimes when I'm talking to my wife, she'll be like referencing something, and I was listening. I just didn't know the thing you just said was connected to that other thing. That's what it was. What do you think, Jenna?
I found that. That's the thing. I don't know if that's the official name, but I did read on the blog because I don't know if you have this, but your Google has news on my phone. So the first thing I can see is Google News, and it gives me a whole bunch of little blobs, but that's what they were calling it in one of the blobs, and somewhere else they called it something different. So I don't know if that's the official name, but they said you can just start playing with it now.
Wow.
On the blog.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, yeah, I'm getting a lot of good resources. That's fantastic. And those audiobooks, I can't wait to get started. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned the other day that they're working on an area for the high school kids, like a hangout room. Where is that going to be? Right there on campus? What do you have?
It is going to be, where the music room used to be?
Yeah.
That is the room that we referenced.
So you're not using that for music right now?
Not on the days that we have high school classes. So the only time it is being used would be during the academy base camp time. So that 1 hour, but everybody should be in their academy base camps anyway. And then after that, any student that is available, needing a spot, they can go and hang out there.
Will there be a staff member there, or is it
There is not currently a staff member there, but we do have cameras set up that are being monitored. So yeah, it was a hard call because we figured as soon as we put a staff member there, nobody would want to hang out.
Well, I read somewhere that one of the parent liaisons, I don't know if there's a sign, I can't remember where I saw it, that students are not allowed in the parent room without a parent. Is that K-12 or is that just K-8?
I think that would be the youngers is what I'm thinking is true. They also are not wanting a flood of teenagers that are going to be, playing around in there. Obviously, it's fine if you go in there, but we don't want to ruin the mojo for parents either that are trying to relax if kids are horsing around.
Well,
but mostly it would be unattended younger students that are just having to be babysat by the parent liaison or the parent.
I'm in there on Wednesdays from 9 to after 2 o'clock because Holly has classes all day. And I tell you what, the lunch hour in there is pretty radical. A lot of kids in there without parents, and maybe they're all high schoolers, but I think the majority of the ones I see in there are middle schoolers.
Oh,
And they're eating lunch and they're not being harmful, but
sure.
the noise level is really high. And I know it's lunchtime, so I mean, I'm not trying to do computer work or anything
Right.
like that, but that's why I wasn't sure what the cutoff was for if there's parents in there or not.
Yeah, I wonder if directing them to that other location would be a better.
Yeah,
better-
it might be. Yeah,
Okay, I'll look into that. That's actually helpful to know.
yeah. Well, I know you need to go, so I'm gonna get out of here. It was nice chatting with you.
Oh, it really was. Thank you for the tip. I appreciate it.
I'll see you next week.